Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So it is time for another franchise ranking video today, and today it's going to be for a movie trilogy, which is loosely based on a 1980 TV show of the same name. And this is one of my favourite action thriller vigilante trilogies of all time, which I've seen the films for. And this, of course, is none other than the films for The Equalizer. So there is 3 films, of course, in this trilogy, and I even, of course, own the first 2 on Blu-ray, and I'm hoping to get a third one very soon. And this will be a ranking, in my opinion, from best to weakest, because, in my opinion, none of these 3 films suck. In my opinion, they're all really good movies, which are definitely a lot of fun to watch. So, I'm going to be ranking them in that order. So, this is also my personal opinion as well, guys, so if you guys don't agree, that's absolutely fine, but please respect my opinion just like I respect yours. So, kicking off this franchise ranking is most definitely going to be my number 1 personal favourite, which of course is the first film, The Equalizer, released in 2014, directed by Antoine Fuqua. So, this is one of my favourite vigilante action films of all time, and the main character, Robert McCall, or this character right here, is most definitely my favourite role of Denzel Washington, because Robert is an absolute badass in my opinion, and he's so much fun to watch. And Denzel did a really amazing job in this movie, and considering, of course, that he was 60 the year the film came out, of course, he definitely was amazing in this film with what he did. Just brilliant, really, and a lot of fun to watch. And he did a really great job, and there was also great supporting cast members in this too, such as Chloe Grace Moretz, Martin Sokas, David Harbour, Bill Pullman, Melissa Leo, just to name a few. And I think the story is also fantastic, where it involves a retired US Marine and DIA agent who comes out of retirement to protect a teenager from members of a Russian mafia, which I thought was really cool. Really good story. And the action, in my opinion, was a lot of fun. And the music was also brilliant, composed by Harry Gregson Williams, which was a lot of fun to listen to. And I think it was definitely a lot of fun from start to finish. And I also regard Robert as Denzel's most unique role I've seen, because unlike a lot of roles I've seen from Denzel, Robert is bold in this, which I think was a very good idea, really, to make him unique compared to other roles I've seen from Denzel. I think it worked really well in that sense, really, and made him such a unique character, especially because he's such a badass as well. Definitely my favourite role of his. So, if I was to give Equalizer a score out of 10, guys, I'd probably give it a very solid score of 9 out of 10, because it's a really fun movie from start to finish. No masterpiece by any means, of course, but I think it's a lot of fun from start to finish, and it's definitely, in my opinion, one of Antoine Fuqua's best films. And Denzel Washington, of course, is he can collaborate with his, which is pretty cool. Then on to what is my second favourite of this trilogy. I'm actually going to be going with what is the most recent one of the trilogy, the last one, which is this year's The Equalizer 3. So, when it comes to this year for films, there's unfortunately not been much good films I've seen from this year. There's only been a fair few masterpieces that I've seen. But this one, however, was definitely a big surprise, to be sure, because I saw this film and I thought it was actually a really good franchise finale. And it was also definitely, in my opinion, a massive breath of fresh air, because I feel that many franchises have been milked way too much, and they've done far too many sequels to them, even when they've ended already with one film which would have been seen as a great finale. They've kept making more. But this film, however, to me, was definitely a great ending to the trilogy. So, Denzel Washington, of course, came back as Robert and was once again an absolute badass, and I definitely really like how this film went a lot darker with lots of blood and gore, which I thought was a nice touch, really, and I think it worked really well in this. And it did it really well. So it was a massive breath of fresh air for that reason. And the supporting cast was also great as well, for example, such as from Dakota Fanning. And what's cool is she actually reunited with Denzel in this after they, of course, appeared together in Man on Fire back in 2004, which was pretty cool. And it was definitely a lot of fun. The action was great too, and I like the new setting in Italy, which was really cool as well. And the story was really good too, as well. And I definitely really enjoyed it, as well. The other bad quality I could say is maybe some of the pacing was a bit off in some cases too, really, which wasn't that good, to be honest. But other than that, I really enjoyed this movie, and of course, it's also a very satisfying ending as well, where we see Robert dancing in a parade in Italy, which was really nice. And I definitely really love seeing that. Happy ending for a character right there, with no signs of any continuation, so I'm so glad that there's not going to be any more after this, really. So I really hope that there won't be a continuation of this. I really hope so, because I definitely think that this was a great ending to a trilogy. And if I was to give a score out of 10, I'd probably give it a very solid score of 8 out of 10. Definitely, in my opinion, the second best of a trilogy, and definitely, in my opinion, a great franchise finale. I really hope we don't do a third movie. Then on to what is my least favourite trilogy, but not a bad film by any means, of course, which is the second film, which is 2018's The Equalizer 2. So, when it comes to this film, I personally think it's just decently good, really. Nowhere near as good, in my opinion, as the first two films, as the in this ranking I've just covered, but still, in my opinion, a pretty decent sequel to the first movie, but in my opinion, not as good. I mean, what's good about it is Denzel Washington is once again good as Robert, as always. And it's also lots of other good supporting cast members too, like Melissa Leo and Bill Pullman returning from the first film, and also Pedro Pascal as well. And this was also sadly the final film to feature the actor Orson Bean, may he rest in peace. So he was really good in this as Sam Rubinstein, but sadly, of course, we lost Orson. Rest in peace to him. And the action for what it was worth was also decent too, in my opinion. I thought it was pretty good, and I really enjoyed it for what it was worth. And music was once again good by Harry Gregson Williams, just like it has been before in the first movie. And I definitely think he was really good. This was his last time composing, because the third film music was composed by Marcelo Zavos, but it was still, in my opinion, a good soundtrack in this film. And I also as well think that the story was also decent as well, where Robert sets on a path of revenge after one of his friends is murdered. So I guess that was good. I like I didn't do a difference to the first film, because in the first one, of course, Robert came out of retirement to protect someone, whereas in this, he's hunting down someone after one of his friends is killed. So I like how we did a different story for what it was worth. But back what I could say is that I feel the pacing was, in my opinion, at the worst when it comes to a trilogy. Because while pacing may have been off in all three films, I feel in this one it was the most off, because some parts, in my opinion, got a little bit boring because there wasn't much action, sadly. And I also feel that it kind of took a while for the story to actually happen, because they focused on lots of subplots, really, and that didn't really work for me much, to be honest. So I kind of wish they just focused entirely on Robert. Thankfully, the third film did it much better, which I really appreciated. But, like I said, guys, I personally think Equalizer 2 is a decently good sequel at best, really. And as a fun fact, it's also the first ever sequel Denzel's been in his career. So, yeah, for what it was worth, I think it was a good film for him to be in as a sequel to, really. But in my opinion, nothing can top the first movie. So, that being said, that was me, of course, doing my ranking of the Equalizer trilogy from best to weakest, in my personal opinion. So, first place for me, of course, is the original film, The Equalizer. My second favourite is this year's film, Equalizer 3. And my least favourite in the trilogy is The Equalizer 2. And that was from best to weakest, because like I said, none of those films, in my opinion, are bad. I just think they get weaker and weaker, not worse and worse, in my personal opinion. And I really hope we do not do a fourth film, because I personally think that 3 was perfect ending. And of course, Denzel isn't getting any younger, is he? So it would make sense to stop eventually, of course, really. So I really do think they should not do any more films anymore, to be honest. I think 3 was definitely a perfect ending, really. So I hope we don't do any more movies. Anyway, this is me doing my franchise ranking of the Equalizer trilogy based on the show of a 7M from the 1980s. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to leave in the comments what you guys think of the Equalizer trilogy if you've seen the films. Let me know how you guys rank them in the comments below. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for more videos to come in the future. And I'll see you all later.